I was one of the Native American children, adopted at birth and removed from our country's Indian reservation system. I was raised in a small middle-class farming community but was never told of my true American Indian heritage. It was still taboo back in those early days. The years passed, and in 1987 I lost both parents. While going through their personal belongings, my wife discovered my adoption papers and she began a search. 5 years later, I was reunited with my biological Lakota family living on the Lower Brule Sioux Indian Reservation of South Dakota. I am a son of two mothers and a product of two worlds that had collided, but I have an equal amount of love and pride for both. I'm Paul LaRush, and the stories you are about to see are an attempt to share this true American story of a hidden heritage. Henry Red Cloud is a 21st century Lakota warrior, bringing social justice and economic development to Native American communities through renewable energy and sustainable building projects and training. A direct descendant of Chief Red Cloud, the last Lakota war chief, today, Henry continues along a different path of leadership, one that is building energy independence for Native American communities across the Great Plains and far beyond. Henry was born and raised on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in South Dakota, home of the Oglala Lakota tribe. He strives to provide his people with a new vision for the future while still maintaining their important traditions, cultural heritage, and deep connection to Mother Earth. Henry is a chief of the Oglala Lakota tribe and has an honorary degree, Doctor of Public Service from Washington College. He is also the executive director of the 501c3 organization Red Cloud Renewable. The mission of Red Cloud Renewable is to stimulate a significant revisioning of tribal communities where energy is created in renewable ways. Meals are nutritional and fortified by traditional Lakota foods. Homes are built in a sustainable way with local builders, and materials and the land is cared for and regenerated with the next 7 generations in mind. We met with Henry on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. Here is the interview.
It's Henry Red Cloud, and my Indian name is Brave Eagle. I live here on the Pine Ridge Reservation, land of Red Cloud and people of Crazy Horse. As you journeyed on to the res here, the only state highway was 18. You went and came through, and now you exited off 18, and you journeyed down this road that's called Solar Warrior Road. Now you're in a compound of the Lakota Solar Enterprises as well as Red Cloud Renewable Energy Center. Lakota Solar Enterprises is a manufacturing facility. We took the 1970s concept of the air heating system, looked at it, redeveloped it, put in some 21st century material, as well as redesigned it Lakota style, and came up with a very efficient heating device. I grew up here. I grew up here on the res all my life, born here and raised here. And as being out of school and that, being a young father at that time, I needed work. The parents said, okay, you got to work. Grandparents said, you got to work. You got to be a provider now. We did what we can do to show you. Now you got to do it. So I started looking for work, and I couldn't find hardly anything here on the res. So I had to leave. And I did a lot of work, a lot of different kinds of, construction work, which helped me to be where I am, today. I spent probably 14 years off the res, but my heart was always on the res, always wanted to come home, always wanted to hang out and be at home. Okay, once I arrive home, I'm going to have a job. I'll probably have a house too, I said. Man, I better hurry and get home. And I got home and I didn't find either. In fact, I felt that when I left, it was in bad shape. But when I returned as more of a adult and then seeing things, it was in worse condition. I just went and got away from everybody, and I went out and basically out in the country. I went way out and just went and spent the night there. I found myself spending the night in the country, and I woke up very early in the morning before sunrise, and getting out of my truck and just watching that sun come up. Grandparents, my grandfather, my father, they used to offer a prayer at that time, beginning of the day. So I was waiting for the sun to come up, waiting. As soon as the sun was going to come, reach for it and start to say a prayer. So I was waiting. Sure enough, the sun come up. So I offered a prayer, offered a song, and just reached out to it. And here I felt some energy hit the palms of my hand. If you do it today, you still feel the same energy. Lift your hand to that sun. Lift it. You can feel the energy. Start, settling down, looking at what I can do to create economic development for myself. So here we're in a 4-season region. So looking at that, okay, I was a wood vendor. I started to help, people with their sundances, ceremonies, start doing that, develop a small business making, teepees, teepee poles, start doing all of this stuff here in Indian country, and then found it that, creating a job for myself and then, creating work for other people felt really good, But he said, if you want a better life, create some work for other people. So that kind of stuck with me. And as I knew that I was on to something good as we was coming, and then in July 99, the first, sitting president of the United States ever went and came out to Indian country. And at that time, there was a call out to, okay, anybody got, teepees, anybody doing anything with that? And here they found us over way back in a corner, Red Cloud teepees, and went and called us over and said, design a stage for the president. So, thank goodness for, Google. I Googled air heaters one day. And with my modem at that time that I had here, it took like 10 minutes for everything to download and everything, but being patient with it, and then found a 1970s, concept of the air heating system. And being an advocate, dumpster diver that I am, start looking and bringing material together and wanting to put together this real crude air heating system. And just to see if it would work, I put a DC fan on it, and I wired it over to a battery, my car battery, and put an intake and an exhaust on it, faced it to the sun, and man, it worked. And there was this nice lady sitting there, so we started to talk about, she had an interest for, renewable energy, and she called herself the wind lady. And so I started to, talk to her, telling her what I was doing in that, and lo and behold, I didn't know that I was sitting next to Winona LaDuke, and she was, telling me, talking to me about all this stuff, and we developed, friendship there, and then we start going forward on all this renewable energy. She's a, champion out there over to Minnesota up there. As, Native Americans being caretakers of the earth, I believe that we're the ones, we're on the threshold, we're already inside the door. We already been, doing for years, taking that next step and just bringing everybody else into it. We manufactured the air heating system, and our unit will save 30% plus on your heating cost. The system, pays for itself over a matter of 3 to 5 years, depending on how your winter is. For non-natives, that there's, tax rebates on them. the system could be paid, 2/3 of it can be paid right away the first year. And there's only one moving part on it. It's a small squirrel cage blower, which moves 480 cubic feet of air per minute. We open the doors to Cloud Renewable Energy Center, which trains in PV systems, photovoltaic systems, solar electric, water heating systems, geothermal, residential wind, natural build, taking all of this stuff that we already understand as Native Americans and just becoming, for years as Native Americans, we always wanted to become independent from the federal government, from the state. And this is our opportunity. This is our chance. It just falls into our language, our songs, our culture, and our way of life. So you can find us on a World Wide Web under Lakota Solar Enterprises, as well as YouTube. We're on Facebook, come on out, send us a smoke signal, a 21st century smoke signal.
I'm Henry Red Cloud's little brother. I'm like the second to the youngest of the boys. There's 6 of us. So that's who I am. What I do here for the Lakota Solar Enterprises is I go around and I try to get materials that we need, such as boards or any type of material that we could use to make the solar panels. Or now we're starting to work on housing and solar straw bale housings and different types of houses that we could help the people with, Being a little brother and admiring my big brothers and what they do and stuff like that and trying to follow along and have that type of respect. I watched him and I admired it, and I thought about what he was doing was really good. And I seen how much it helped the other people, other people's, by creating work, by creating some energy for the elderly people and creating heat and helping the elderly people as well as the young people that need a job, at least if it's just a few dollars to make for a meal or something like that for their home, it was really something. And eventually me and him always worked together. I mean, since we were small, we worked for a lot of things. His TP business that he had going, we worked on that. As he mentioned earlier, for the president, working for the president, we did all of that together. We did a lot of work, not only on this solar system, but building tire houses and building different types of buildings just to try to help some people out. Here on the Pine Ridge Reservation, there's a need for a lot of housing all over, families. In one house, there could be like maybe 10 to 15 people living in one house, and there could be like 3 families in one house, and it's overcrowded. The water system in the housings and stuff like that is bad. They're paying an outrageous light bill, electricity and stuff like that, which the Native people here on the reservation don't have, They don't have that type of money because there's no jobs or anything like that. So a lot of the times they have to go without, But having wind energy, having solar and stuff like that helps them to, get those payments down to where they could, actually have enough money for a meal or two, save a little money for some gas to get to town or something like that, We need things to build homes. We need I hate to ask people for money or anything like that, but if that's what they have to help, that would really help us, because it's not only helping the company, but it's helping the people on the reservation. It's helping the little children to have a nice, good place to sleep, or it's helping an elderly person to be able to sit in a nice place. At least it's home. It might not be a mansion of any kind, but it's home, And that means a lot to our people, So I would ask them, if they could donate some type of material, whatever it might be. It might be concrete, it might be boards, it might be nails, it might be screws, or even just a good friendship to come over and sit around and lend a helping hand to build, if that's what they have to donate, the help that we need, is to have people come around and help us make them for the people. When people come around and lend a helping hand, and we, in return, we, provide some music, a little entertainment, and a lot of positive things happen here. We have cookouts, and we get people together, and we do a little storytelling in the evenings, tell them about our grandfathers and the people that passed on stories after stories, So that's what you'll be hearing, is a little bit of our Native American music. I encourage the younger people to stay away from drugs and alcohol. Get into your native culture, your native language. I myself, I'm a student at the Oglala Lakota College. I'm trying to get certified in our Lakota language as a Lakota language instructor. And at the same time, I try to practice respect for our elders and respect yourself most of all. Treat your body well. Try to stay away from the bad things and then try to get into something positive like this Solar Enterprises. Future here, I hope the Solar Enterprises grows to be where we could help a lot of people, not only here on Pine Ridge, but throughout Indian country within the United States and other countries if possible. Try to help everybody as a whole.
Sure. This solar array we use for our training. This is a 2,000 volt system, 2400 peak, and this here system is a grid tie system. These here PV systems on your home would be better, even better yet in the state of South Dakota. We all know that we have a plenty of sun and plenty of wind. So hybrid systems I recommend, because if our sun isn't blowing, sure enough, we got wind blowing. I believe that Indian countries, Indian lands, Indian reservations, if we do this right, will reach energy independence before mainstream America. We can do it just by small applications like this. And we could make that because we're already inside the door. We just have to unite, come together and make that powerful stand and reach energy independence before mainstream America. It's your straw bale home we took into, consideration as our sweat lodge, our hochokas, everything being round. There was nothing, square. Everything being round. Taking that, taking the Southwest into, consideration, the, kivas, the, sacred kivas down there, the Hogans and that, and then developing something Lakota style. We found all of this stuff locally here. This, if all our homes, our businesses, our schools, our work, wherever that we may be, if they were really efficient, renewable energy is going to help a whole bunch. As you can see, we're still under, construction, but houses are a need here in Indian country. With these here straw bale houses, you create the atmosphere. If you want it to be warm a little bit, start a wood fire or put one of our solar air heating systems on it. Then you create the atmosphere. You want it to cool down, open a door, open a window, and it cools down on its own. So very, very efficient. If we put our trees on a south side, the house southeast, and a southwest side of our houses, that'll shade our houses during the summer, and then keep our houses cooler, and then help us to not use that much power on our AC systems. If we do the same thing with junipers, with the green trees, and plant a nice windbreak over on the north and then the west side, that'll keep the hard wind off, create some dead space. Then your house will be easier to heat and stay warmer longer. I like all of this stuff. Using natural to combat natural. That's what we should be doing. That's what we need to be doing, instead of making something that's going to be terrible for the earth to combat something that that can be taken care of with real simple things like trees. Well, where you're at and finish our finished product is our absorber is a 32 square foot of heating surface, and it's developed in Europe. Europe's like usually. So all of this stuff here in the glass is, double pane, thermal pane. It's high impact. So as the sun shines down inside and gets super hot in there, the sun doesn't, come out. As you see, it looks frosty, right? Once the sun hits it and then hits what looks like it's sparkly in there. Anyway, it takes the sun rays and emits it 50 times more. So you get more sunlight in there, more, radiant, more rays from the sun in there. And they're $2,000 off the shelf. And then we'll install it for $3,000, but I have a video and I have a manual. Or you could come here and get the training to install it. Well, I have to get a copy of that video. Yeah, after the debate. Because PV systems, we have lighting systems, solar lighting system. There's another 1,600 foot outside, picking up the earth, temperature, brings it back in, runs it to the register here, and then throws it out into the forest. And then just, throws it back outside. So it's, constantly just, circle 5 gallons per minute. So it's just constantly, pumping, This is the res papers. This is called dense pack. We do, retrofits. We could do new builds as well. But for instance, this is a 4-inch wall. You put a small hole in the back and fill it with res paper. Just dense packs it. Immediately 40%, savings, cooling, heating. The best part of it creates some economic development savings, and it cleans up our res. So when we're not moving buffalo or horses, we're spraying houses. In fact, in a couple of weeks, we got a training seminar happening on how to, develop a paper recycling plant and how to turn your res paper into, something useful, the cellulose. And then the applicator right here. This is the applicator. Recycling over there. We got to get a building for that. But things happen slow in Indian country here. But always get done. But